It was an unprovoked attack on a sovereign state. So this wording was very frequent in the beginning of the Ukraine war, when there was a Russian invasion, the 24th of February, into the Ukraine. And whether that is to be understood like this or that is not really the topic here. It's not an advocacy for I can also see this is, I think, a Barcelona t-shirt. So it's like when I was into soccer, I supported an opposing team, but this one I got from my father-in-law, and it's really nice. And yeah, I like to wear it, and it's not a pro-Ukrainian or pro-Russian or pro-American video. I just want to put this sentence into the concept, like, yeah, what does it mean unprovoked? What does it mean attack? What does it mean sovereign? What does it mean state? Yeah, this is what we do in the concept lab. Yeah, we go and ask, okay, we say these things. Yeah, but it was an unprovoked attack on a sovereign state, and thereby we seem to justify that. For instance, the other day I heard somebody say that we cannot negotiate with Russia. We cannot negotiate with the enemy because they made an unprovoked attack on a sovereign state, and therefore they must withdraw before we can even talk to them or something like that. Yeah, and it seemed to actually resonate quite deeply concerning the war. Some countries are trying to actually, I think my own country, Denmark, is working in this direction to make a conference with countries to discuss this war, but they don't want to include Russia in the talks. They want to talk with each other what to do with the war, but actually, yeah, that's kind of funny because I don't know whether it's actually funny in this way, but it's interesting because usually you would like to talk to your opponent if you want to have something like you want to, from the legal system, if you have a dispute, then maybe both parties should meet up in the courtroom and try to discuss, negotiate. Anyway, the legitimacy for not inviting Russia is that we cannot talk to them because they have done something that, at least when they do it, it disqualifies them completely in our eyes. So just want to figure out, what does it mean? Yeah, and today we start out with unprovoked. And this is actually how I got the idea, because last night I saw this documentary about Sweden, and there was this couple at home, and he was sitting watching television with his mother, and she was upstairs trying to get the children to sleep. And then all of a sudden there is a knock on the door, and he walks to the door, but he doesn't recognize the person, so he says, okay, what do you want, without opening the door. And then the other person says, hey bro, it's me, you see, let me in. And he can see that there is another guy behind also, and he does not want to let these guys in, for, I hope, obvious reasons, because he's supposed to protect his family, and cannot just let anybody in. And the person keeps on saying, bro, it's me. And then the guy says, I don't know you, so I'm not gonna let you in. And then they start shooting at the door, And actually, the guy, he gets hit in the leg also before he can get away from the shooting angle. And yeah, he was quite touched by that, and so was of course his wife. And because whoa, this, I think it was an unprovoked attack on their home. They had absolutely no prior engagement. There was a small dialogue where the one claims acquaintance and the other is somehow saying, I don't know you. So it's like, I don't feel any urge or obligation to open the door as you demand. And then, yeah, then they just start shooting at him. And then I thought, yeah, this is an unprovoked attack on their home, right? Maybe not. Yeah, but let's discuss these things. It's just I don't think you could say that there is not such thing as an unprovoked attack. I think occasionally you, yeah, actually, yeah. Later, I watched this crime story also from Sweden. They're very good at that. Maria Wern, and there was this robber harassing the city by attacking people and stealing their expensive luxury items. And that was also fairly unprovoked. But there, the story is that somehow the attacker knew that the person he attacked was in possession of something of value, let's say a watch for $100,000 or a watch or something like that, yeah, expensive luxury item, yeah, before attack, yeah. So it's unprovoked, maybe a little less unprovoked than the first example that I gave. Because here there is this, but still it's like you should be able to walk around with expensive jewelry yeah, at least in Copenhagen. I don't know about Sweden anymore, but it's like, yeah, of course you should be according to the odds and the rights that you are eventually secured. But yeah, there was at least some kind of reason for the attack. So I think it's still kind of unprovoked because, yeah, it's kind of arbitrary. But yeah. But then when it comes down to, for instance, the war in Ukraine, yeah, so it's like there was an unprovoked attack. So yeah, there was this invasion, then there was some negotiations, and then actually these negotiations broke down. And then there is what we call a state of war. So then the two power centers running the conflict, Moscow and Kiev, they are in a state of war with each other. And yeah, there are lots of backers, like my country, Denmark. We are backing Kiev together with Washington and the UK and Estonia and lots of other countries backing the UK in this war, as we have actually been backing the Ukraine throughout the conflict. But now I'm already talking about the conflict, yeah, that has escalated into a state of war between the two capitals, where the two capitals actually don't speak to each other anymore. They are only like fighting it out on the battlefield. Yeah, so they're in a state of war, we say. Yeah, and usually to stop that state of war, there are two solutions. Either the one is annihilated, or one party is asking to stop the fight. And then maybe if both are interested in stopping the fight, you could maybe make some kind of negotiation and stuff like this. That could be a good concept. We could, work with in the concept lab. Negotiation, quite an interesting concept. But today it seems like there's no way we can negotiate because there's no room for dialogue since there was an unprovoked attack on a sovereign state, and this is so preposterous that this happened, that this means that now the others are not to be conferred with, and they are not. So it's like there is the state of war, but there's also the construction of the enemy in such a way that the enemy is unreasonable, or for some reason you cannot negotiate with them, and you often hear this. Then the justification of that position, we cannot negotiate with them because there was an unprovoked attack on a sovereign state. Right. About the Ukraine being a sovereign state, we could say that formally it is recognized as a sovereign state. So I think in the sentence we can get into what that means and what sovereignty is and what a state is, but it's easy to understand, I think, what people refer to when they say that the Ukraine was a sovereign state or is a sovereign state. But was a sovereign state at the time of this unprovoked attack, when the invasion happened the 24th of February 2022. But unprovoked, what is entailed here? So it's like Russia set for quite loudly into the sphere of international politics, at least since 1995, and Ukraine got its constitution finally in 1996. So the period between 1994 and 1996 is quite here is quite central, because it was inscribed into the Ukrainian constitution that it should stay neutral, and then it would get off the hook somehow if Russia could lend Crimea, parts of it at least, for having its naval bases, and then if the Soviet Union got its nuclear weapons back from the Ukraine, then it was like Ukraine could begin to materialize its independence into a constitution, and these steps were taken, and therefore the interstructural level of political constitution was settled. But then the neutrality of Ukraine came into question, and at some point NATO said, you can join, and that was in 2008. They opened the door to Georgia and Ukraine. So you would at least see in the politicological account of the conflict between NATO and Russia, there has been a development towards the situation that led to the invasion. So constructing the invasion by Russia as an unprovoked attack is yeah, it's not so easy because there was quite a story leading up to this, and it was quite clear to everybody who was interested, at least, that this was a huge issue for Moscow, and that it was somehow a red line that Georgia and Ukraine were invited into NATO. And concerning Ukraine, we had in 2008 an attack on Georgia on this account 4 months after the NATO decision to enlarge. And you can say, yeah, but the Russians, they should not decide about this, and their interests, we will ignore their interests, right? But it's like that's what we somehow ended up doing in NATO, and yeah. Could we understand that enlargement of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization into the Black Sea as a provocation? I think in geopolitical terms it would be understood as quite a substantial provocation. Yeah. So you see here, it's not so unproblematic just to say that, yeah, it was an unprovoked attack. What does it mean, unprovoked? And yeah, now I somehow summed up 2 different accounts of that story with an emphasis on the opposing account here. That, yeah, it's not. Yeah, we have to work a little bit on the concept of unprovoked in order to understand the long conflict leading up to the invasion as without any element of provocation. But maybe somebody would be able to do that. So that would be interesting. And the exercise is now to answer this question, to open up what does it mean, unprovoked war? Yeah. So yeah, I want to ask, can we think about? Can we mention another war that was more provoked than this one? Yeah. If you just all the wars you know about, if you can think, it's like, yeah. So it's like 20 years of conflict since the get-go of Ukraine. That was the 24th of August 1991 that they claimed independence, and then yeah, the detachment from the Soviet Union and the relationship to Russia and to its surroundings were in general always somehow a question, at least, that should be dealt with. Yeah. So, and there was also in 2014 political incidents where there was a regime change in Kiev. So that was also very tensely connected to the president that was ousted was elected to balance between the Russia and the EU, and then the president Yanukovych was ousted, and then there was a new regime coming in there. So it's like this conflict has been going on for quite some time, but I'm sure we can find examples in the history of civilization of of a war that has been more provoked than this one. But yeah, until then, leave your comments, and yeah, when you suggest a war, give us an account. Yeah, it's like when we are working with a concept, it's like, yeah, okay, this war was provoked in this way, and it was, I think, more provoked because of this and that, and yeah, give us some argument. Yeah, this is how we will get more knowledge. It's what do you mean unprovoked? What do you mean by provoked? What does it mean, provoked attack, unprovoked attack? Yeah, when it comes to relation between states and the and conflicts turning into war. What? How do you understand this? Yeah, give us an account of that, so we can pick up on it and discuss in the workshop. Yeah, I hope I have provoked you a little bit to think back. What about the Peloponnesian War? What about Persia? What about modern Western wars? What about the Second World War? What was So let's get some substance. What do we mean when we say unprovoked attack on a sovereign state? What does it mean? Yeah. So if you're into this or these exercises, we're doing in the concept lab, you should subscribe to the channel. It's quite often that I pick up a concept and just try to get underneath what does it mean. Yeah. And if you need help with the exercise, you should share this video and like and subscribe and all these things. Yeah. So see you on the next one.